issues. There we are. Billy, waiting for Billy to say he's going to join us. There he is.
Hey,
Billy, how are you, man?
good and you?
I am doing well. I am doing well. Are you out working right now?
I am at a park right now. I thought it'd make for a better scenery than than my balcony.
Well, there you go. Well, for everyone who's, we're giving everyone a chance to join in. We'll chit chat a little bit before we get to the really good story you got. For those who don't know, you've done science, you've done TV work, you've done all sorts of stuff. Can you kind of give everyone sort of a background of who you are and what you've done?
Yeah. So, my my job, my work incorporates everything from just general storytelling to uh, my day job. My 9 to 5 is creating immersive experiences for theme parks, dreaming up new worlds, and that has kind of carried over into the work that I do with biomimicry, which is studying biology and biological strategies for ways to reinvent everything in a more sustainable and equitable way. And that all translates into the storytelling that I like to do around biology, because there's so many amazing, dope things that nature is doing, that we are discovering, and getting those stories out so that people have a stronger sense of appreciation and empathy for the natural world is very important. So that is why I consider myself a biology-inspired futurist and storyteller.
That is a great intro. I love that. But I want to specifically ask you to describe something a little more detailed. We have a division that in our organization that does a lot of work with biomimicry. I'm hopeful that you can maybe give a definition to that. You kind of did a little bit, but like give an example. Like what's one thing that you could maybe give in a hot minute or two? What is biomimicry? Is there something that you've either worked on or seen or studied that if someone would go, oh, I didn't know that was from animals?
So I think the go-to example that most people recognize right away is Velcro.
Uh,
The Swiss gentleman who invented Velcro loved to take his dog on walks through the woods in their neighborhood, in their backyard, and he noticed the dog would always come back with these little burr seeds that had these little curly hooks on the end attached to its fur. And those seeds, the function, the reason for those curlicues is so that they would latch on to animals that are passing through the woods, and those animals would carry those burr seeds to areas that might be ideal for them to grow and propagate. So with him understanding that there was this attachment mechanism, he then applied that to creating Velcro, which is something that we all use now. So that's one of the main examples I like to highlight.
yeah, that's a good one. That's good. And it goes much further than that in the sense of, I'm glad you chose Velcro. That's something everyone can relate to and understand. But there's biomimicry being looked at for, medical purposes, for surgery purposes. I even heard that they were studying the way the tip of porcupine quills were shaped to see if they could do a better edge on the scalpel to make a cleaner cut, because porcupine quills go in so easily into flesh. So, I mean, stuff like that is just truly fascinating. That's so cool that you're a part of that.
Yeah, that's right. There's another example where there's a company called Sharklet, I believe. They developed a film that is supposed to be antimicrobial because of how these tiny little denticles on shark skin prevent them from getting infections. So something that I'm sure we definitely want more of in this world right now.
Yeah, right. Speaking of that, great segue. Thanks for setting it up. One of the first questions I usually ask before we get to the main question too is, we're all dealing with this pandemic in our own ways. Some people different than others. Some people dealing with more issues, some with less. Has the stay-at-home orders and all of this that we're all dealing with, how has that impacted your work or your ability to do your work normally?
It's interesting in a lot of ways. I mean, you don't want people getting sick. You don't want people dying. But I just saw uh, a quote that someone said of the great slowing down. So in a lot of ways, the busyness of trying to get things going and get things out has actually I'm producing less content, but I have more time to reflect on what it is I actually want to do, and how to clarify my message. So I'm actually going through a lot of things that I've recorded that I didn't get to show because I was trying to do this or that, and I'm now starting to actually revisit a lot of things that I've already done, which is nice. Uh, Being outside, the parks are open. I have my mask right here for the record. I don't want anyone thinking that but as I see two people walking too close for me, cover the nose and the always cover the nose, Rick. Right?
Right? Exactly. I
Uh,
don't understand when people have it just here and the nose. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
um, but no, I think the greatest gift of right now, if you can call it that, is the fact that like nature is still available to everyone.
Yeah.
Even when there was a stay-at-home order, there were still places where you could go for a walk, you could get some greenery, and we both know that the exposure to natural environments is a psychological boost on
Yep.
your well-being. Um, so it's slowed down the amount of things I can crank out. Especially having my daughter home. Um, but it's also, I think it's given me a deeper time to reflect on like what I really want to say and what it is that I really want to convey about the value of nature, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. I love that perspective. I think a lot of us focus sometimes on, having to deal with the negative sides of the changes. But I really appreciate the fact that you're bringing up the way you can find the positive in it. Obviously, the getting outside part and exposure to nature is right up what I've been doing too. But yeah, I like that perspective too. The great slowing down and getting a chance to kind of reflect on what we're doing and that sort of thing. So yeah, I like that a lot, and that does make sense. That does make sense. So that leaves us then with the main question of doing all of these. And for anybody of your audience watching right now that doesn't know, this all came about the week leading up to Endangered Species Day. I, as a communicator for wildlife and conservation, we have our spiels, we have our conservation messaging. We like to educate people about adaptations of animals and everything we can learn from them. But I think sometimes what's missing from those storytelling aspects of that is also telling the personal element of it. And many people in my world and even beyond are in the world of animal care, I should say, have great encounters with animals one way or another, something that strikes them as being emotionally important or memorable. And the joy I get in doing these now, why I kept going well beyond Endangered Species Day, is because I love hearing these stories. I love seeing people who are animal people or not animal people, just around animals, whatever it may be, have that aha or beautiful moment that they can share for this memorable animal encounter. So that's kind of the setup for all of this, and why I'm doing this. Whoa.
I'm gonna move more inland.
Well, you get moving to somewhere else what you want, and I'll set it up for you, and when you're ready you can start answering it. But basically the whole idea here is, can you share with me and all your adventures, everything you've done in your studies, everywhere you've gone, do you have one specific memorable animal encounter you'd like to share? Or if it's two, if we have time, we could definitely do two.
The first one that comes to mind is myself and my co-host for the Little Giants TV show for Animal Planet. Shameless plug. My co-host Bradley Trevor Reeve. He and I were in South Africa, and we were out in an open area just in front of a lake, and we had heard that there were some hippos that were residing in the lake, and neither of us had seen hippos before out in the wild, and so we decided to see how close we could get to see if we could see them. So we're about maybe 200 feet from the edge of the lake, and it's a pretty wide lake, so we're just sitting there and waiting, and Bradley, he's giving me all of these like hippopotamus facts, and and I know that hippos are very temperamental, and they're also surprisingly fast. So we're just waiting to see if they're going to pop their heads up out of the water. And so we're waiting there for like, I mean, 30 minutes, an hour or so. Luckily, we had kind of finished filming for the day, but so we're waiting, and then you just start to see like the top of the ears and the top of the nose pop up, and there's this realization that sets in that like we're actually not that far from these temperamental hippos.
Like if you had to guess, how far were you guys?
I mean, I'd say we were about, maybe, I'd say maybe 250 feet, because I think they were like midway
Wow.
through the lake, right? So, about a football field's distance, right? Now, granted, it felt like a safe distance, but there's a lot of shrubbery between us and the lake, and we only saw one, but we heard that there were two in there. So, when you have that realization, like there's this beautiful big animal that's very temperamental and very fast, and there's a whole lot of shrubbery between you and it, so you don't even know where it is. There's this trepidation that sets in, and just as we started to see it, I got excited, and then Bradley was right next to me, so I'm like, oh look, it's it's popping up, and then just like that, it goes back under.
Oh.
So it felt very anticlimactic, but it also it taught me the value of just like learn a different way to be excited, because I, it's a weird lesson, but it's one of those things when you're observing nature to be calm. Good Lord, what is happening? This is supposed to be a park. What is all these sirens and birds? The birds are okay. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, it's all right, man. It's all right.
Now I'm all in the shadow but no, the lesson for me was just kind of this idea of even as you're making progress, like be still and wait for the final manifestation of things. So it was a very simple thing. There's other,
It's the rare fire truck bird making its seasonal call just for you.
Since when does a fire truck stop at a red light? Good Lord. That's what the siren's for. Oh my gosh. I apologize.
Oh, it's all right, man. They got to do what they got to do. It's no big deal.
On behalf of the Burbank Fire Department, I apologize. But no, it was just that lesson of, even when you're doing things and you're working hard, just, don't focus on the results, focus on the process, and just let things manifest when they choose to manifest, and just kind of, there's a stillness to it. And I think there's something about my excitement versus the temperamental nature that I was expecting from the hippo that,
Right.
I don't even know if that all makes sense, but that was a deep learning that I got out of that experience.
And let me just say, the fact that you witnessed what you witnessed, but walked away with what you just described is so awesome, because that's a really deep lesson to kind of grasp onto anyway, that it's about the process, not the end results. It's about being patient and not putting too many of your own expectations on anything in life. I mean, that's some deep stuff, man. And you got that from just witnessing a hippo come up for some air and go back down. I mean, that does make sense. And that is very cool that you A, shared that, and B, that you got that from that. And I'm gonna just put this out there right now. Anybody on my account who's watching this right now, if you're not following Billy right now, why aren't you? You need to do that. This man is incredibly wise and doing some amazing good work. So I'm just going to drop that in there right now, because I mean, just listening to you, I was like, man, that is so profound. I love it. So thank you for sharing that. Now, you did send me some pictures of you out in the middle of, I don't know where. I can share them right now. Do you know where? Tell everyone where you are with this beaming, happy face out in the middle of somewhere. It looks like maybe Africa.
Yeah, so that was in South Africa. That was while we were filming there,
Okay. So
and
it's part of the
it's
same trip
funny.
you saw the hippos.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The cool thing about that shot was just as we were leaving, there was this like family of like 6 giraffe that were just casually strolling by, and there's nothing like just seeing these beautiful plains and seeing these wild animals just out just with this kind of autonomy and freedom that you don't necessarily get to see, in a zoo setting. It was just remarkable. It was this painted illustration of what life should be like, um,
Yeah.
just in terms of our interaction with, with nature.
Right. And I'm guessing this other shot, similar or same situation, same place, or different day, or
Same place, different shot. We were actually I don't know if I can say it. We came across some porcupine quills on our trip too, and it was after I'd picked them up. We saw some porcupine quills out and about. It was after I picked them up that Bradley decided to tell me that
oh, we lost you. There you are. Lost the connection for a second. Bradley told you what?
did cut out. Okay. It was after I picked up the quills that Bradley told me that porcupines are quills and to wash my hands. So he's a kidder that one. Tasmanian
He's a
grizzly.
good friend. A good friend.
Yeah, yeah, he's the best. He's the best. Um, yeah, the other experience, and I don't know how you are on time.
Yeah,
Um,
so far so good. Share, man.
the other experience, and I realized I didn't send you a photo for this, but the opportunity to see an elephant up close, very near and dear to me. And oh, did I freeze?
I can hear your voice, but your visual. We'll wait. We'll wait. It's cool. There he is. Nope. Yep. There. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. We see you now. I think we can hear you.
Oh, am I still? Okay. Okay. One of those experiences I had was getting to see an elephant up close when we were in Thailand. It was a very and this one I want to be fully transparent on. We were filming for the show, and then on our off day, I'd heard that there was an elephant sanctuary, and uh, and I got the opportunity to actually have a one-on-one experience, just me and the elephant, no one else around, and having the to look an elephant in the eyes and kind of just sense this, you know, beautiful creature and this depth and this kind of understanding. I mean, it's like they have eyes that really like pierce your soul, and it was just really cool. Elephants mean a lot to me, especially one of the things I love is how they're ecosystem engineers in a lot of ways. They're pioneers in how when they travel through different woodlands and grasslands, they create paths for other animals to access waterings, and they create fire barriers and all of that. So that was just a really amazing, deep experience, and very humbling to have this several ton creature that could crush you at any moment allow you to give it a bath. That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing quite being in the close proximity of those gentle giants. That's for sure. And different than hippos, although both big.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt a lot calmer with the elephant than the hippo.
Understandable. Understandable. Well, I do appreciate you taking the time to share your stories with us and everyone who might be watching now or watching this later. I'll post this over on IGTV as well and in my Instagram for people to tap on if they want to watch it or see it again. There have been a few questions that have come up, but I can't get to them all right now. So if you have asked a question during the live, just leave it in the comments once the IGTV posts and we can get back to it there. But before I let you go, Billy, because this whole thing was inspired and started with the idea that we're coming up on Endangered Species Day, which is clearly already passed. One thing I love asking everyone, whether they're SciComm, biology, TV host, whatever, I love asking, what would you say to someone who came up to you and said, I understand it's important, endangered species and all that, but I'm just one person. What can I do? What would be the thing you would let someone know to maybe urge them to or inspire them to do their part?
To do their part. I mean, it's the small things, right? Turn off the lights when you leave a room, or just learn about one animal. Just learn about one animal, just one, right? Just study one animal. Go outside, find one bird, right, and learn about that bird, and let your understanding and let the knowledge that you receive about that bird, let your observations of that bird teach you how to appreciate it, and then to another animal, and then you'll find more ways. I mean, there's so many tactics to Google, but I still think observation is the best educator, right? So
Yeah.
just learn about an animal in your backyard.
I like that one. That's a new twist that no one has said yet. That is a Billy original right there. I like it. I like it. Well, Billy, I can't say thank you enough for taking the time. I know you got a lot going on with your family right now and everything else you're doing. And so I appreciate you taking the 20 minutes to hang out with me here on Instagram Live and share your stories. And again, I want to give you the opportunity. I obviously want people to follow you here on Instagram because clearly you are a wise man doing some great things. But is there anywhere else, anybody, oh, we lost you. Oh no, I want you to come back before I ask a question, so make sure you hear me. Come back, Billy, come back. Don't go yet, Billy. Oh, there you go. Okay, there you are. Great. Okay. Where else can people find you or follow you? Do you have a website or any other social media, or is it all pretty much just here on Instagram? Or what would you like people to know about you and where they can find you?
I'm primarily focused on Instagram. You can also find
Okay.
billybilogy.com.
Okay. And that is linked in your bio on Instagram?
Yep.
All right. Perfect. Perfect. All right, Billy, thank you so much. I'm going to sign you off and I'll keep talking for a little bit to my audience. But thanks again for taking the time. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care and take care of your family, man, as they grow, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You too.
All right. Bye.
Peace. Thanks, y'all.
Okay, shy of some slight technical difficulties, we had a great time talking to Billy, and I love what he just said there at the end on what we can do. I talk about each of us doing one little thing to make a difference in the world, but what a brilliant perspective. What if you take one species and learn everything you can about that one species? Because inevitably what happens when you study one species, you have to also realize what role it plays in the ecosystem, what things impact it in its ecosystem, and what things it then relies on also. So why not? Why not find a bird flying in your area and figure out what species it is? What does it do in the environment you live in? Or maybe go grander. Maybe you want to go beyond your own yard. Go to the park and observe for a while what species are there, and then pick one species and learn everything you can. And like Billy said, observations. I mean, when I was going to college and even now in the zoo world, observations are the most important thing of how the animal can translate to you, or tell you anyhow, what you need to translate for what's going on in its environment and its life. So what a brilliant message from Billy. Thank you, Billy, for that. I really appreciate it. Because again, like I said, once you start studying a singular species and you study everything about it you can, you're going to understand how everything's interconnected. And it might even give you a clearer picture then on what you as a human can do to make a difference for that species, negative or positive, and how you can adjust appropriately. So good stuff, man. I'm loving these. It's Tuesday and we've already had another great, memorable animal encounter story and some wisdom dropped on us from Billy. So I love it. Tomorrow we have another guest. I'll be posting in my stories who that's going to be soon. And it looks like the rest of the week's filling up nicely as well. So we should be full this week for, I think we'll go back to the 1 o'clock schedule. We had to adjust today for Billy for starting at noon, but we'll go back to the 1 o'clock schedule. And then don't forget this Thursday, Jungle Jordan and I will be doing a Thursday evening live together. We're still trying to kick around a topic idea, but I think I might have one or two that'll work. So we'll see what happens. I see Billy left a message here saying, thanks for having me. Billy, you're more than welcome, man. Thanks again for taking the time to join and be a part. I know you got a lot going on today, so I appreciate it. And thank your family for me for letting you go for that little bit. So with that, I'm going to just wish you all a wonderful Tuesday. I hope wherever you are, whatever you got going on, things are going well for you. And if they aren't, I hope you're able to find a good perspective on what you might be able to learn from it, or at least appreciate some aspect of what's going on, so you have a little bit of gratitude. So with that, I'll say, have a good one, everybody.